Officers were told to write more tickets even after the state banned police quotas.
2 tickets in a 40-hour week, and it's not a quota.
This is why we don't want to work for him.
And today, Ogden Police Chief Eric Young was here in the Fox 13 News studios.
You said 2 tickets a week is not a quota.
It's just not how our department works.
What he says about the emails we found revealing exactly how many tickets officers are expected to write. A new federal law is in effect today to protect pregnant people in the workplace. What it means for you and how Utah compares to other states.
Tracking more chances for isolated storms, what to expect tomorrow and heading into 4th of July weekend.
They made me feel like I was at home, and the conversation that they were having with me, it made me feel very comfortable.
I'm Andrea Urban, and I sat down with Taylor Hendricks, the newest addition to the Utah Jazz and the 9th overall pick.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Kelly Chapman. The Fox 13 News investigative team has been following a story in Ogden about the number of tickets police officers must write.
The story has attracted attention from state lawmakers who tried to ban police quotas in 2018. Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Herbett sat down with the chief this afternoon on Fox 13 News Live at 5.
Here is part of that interview and where the issue stands tonight.
Were you told to write more tickets?
Yes. We want to be able to do our jobs. And my job's not a tax collector.
Ogden police officers say they've been forced to grab their pens and write more tickets, even after the state banned police quotas. We exposed all of it earlier this year.
If you don't get a certain amount of tickets, then you may not get your raise.
I think that's ridiculous.
Drivers feel attacked, but now it's the mayor and police chief on defense.
People can call it a quota, people can call it a lot of things.
2 tickets in a 40-hour week, and it's not a quota.
Even though they're telling people this has nothing to do with raising money, we found actually Ogden did the math, converting every ticket into dollars and cents.
There's no trust. We don't even trust our own administration. Why would we expect the public to trust?
This Ogden officer is just one of 7 to speak with Fox 13 about how much he hated working for a police department with a ticket quota.
There's no excuse for that. The department's still getting away with it.
They say while they were out there trying to keep their jobs, nitpicking drivers for the smallest violations, the city was counting cash. And now emails obtained by Fox 13 prove it.
What's the subject line say?
Subject is quota.
Each one of these emails is a public record under state law. Watch and listen while Chief Eric Young tells this version of the story to the public.
It's 2 for a 40-hour week. That's it. 2 tickets in a 40-hour week, and it's not a quota.
The department tells a completely different story in writing. 1 ticket every hour.
The standard in traffic has always been 1 citation per street hour. So if an officer works 75 street hours, they should have a minimum of 75 citations. And these guys are a joke. This is what makes people hate us.
People want to pitch it as a revenue builder. That's not it at all.
We wanted to know if that was true, and then we found this email from a lieutenant describing how the chief asked him to run some numbers. How many tickets an officer would need to write to pay for themselves. Goal: have citations pay for officers' wages, benefits, equipment, and vehicle.
For the chief and for the mayor to say this has nothing to do with revenue.
I'm surprised that the chief's willing to go before the city council and the public and lie like that.
The presentation goes into specific detail, and this is how the math adds up. The average ticket, $130, which means an officer would need to write 2,080 citations a year. Again, that's 1 ticket an hour. Emails show they're already enforcing that standard for some, and actually, those officers are exceeding it.
That's a lot. This is so frustrating. This is why we don't want to work for him.
Chief Young says he will only do another interview with us if it's live. Do you think he has a responsibility to address this?
Yes.
The chief said it was important for him to go live because he didn't want his responses edited. Here's a full question and answer from our conversation. So what would your definition be for a quota. You said 2 tickets a week is not a quota. 75 tickets in 75 hours would not be a quota. So what is, according to you?
What we have are evaluation standards. During the year, if you meet a minimum, then you're going to get a minimum above average or excellent score in your evaluation. You can be subpar in citations and still be above average in one other category, and your evaluation is still above average. So it's only one piece of a 9-part evaluation. There is no quota that every week you've got X number of tickets to write, or you're going to be held accountable for that and disciplined for that. It's just not how our department works.
Were you told to write more tickets?
Yes.
Even though you were exceeding expectations?
Yes.
Do you think you're the only one?
No. I've had the same stuff on my evaluations.
That was Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Herbets. To see the full interview between Adam and Chief Eric Young, you can find it on the Fox 13 News YouTube page, your favorite streaming device, or go to fox13now.com. The Utah Supreme Court has scheduled arguments in a lawsuit challenging the state's near-total abortion ban. Planned Parenthood is suing the state over its anti-abortion trigger law that went into effect when Roe v. Wade was overturned. That law was blocked by a judge, and the Utah Attorney General's office appealed. Fox 13 News has confirmed the Utah Supreme Court will now hear arguments in August after a delay. It is expected it will include discussions on a new rule limiting the scope of injunctions.
Well, Utah is known for having some of the highest fertility rates in the country. And with that high number comes a need for pregnancy protection, especially in the workplace. A new federal law that went into effect just today could become a real game changer for pregnant employees. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser sat down with one woman, a mother and full-time employee, about what a difference this could make.
Is he under the stairs?
This is what a Tuesday night in looks like for Madeline Reber and her 2-year-old Blair.
There he is!
Reber is pregnant and 35 weeks along with her second child. This pregnancy is much smoother than how it was with Blair.
What's inside the clock?
But she remembers how hard it was while she was also working.
It's only in retrospect that I can say I didn't have the support that I needed to go through pregnancy and postpartum. My maternity leave the first time around was really short.
A new federal law went into effect Tuesday, the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, which will protect pregnant employees from discrimination and overexertion.
Well, if you want women in the workplace, you have to make space for them.
The act gives workers the right to receive reasonable accommodations.
Having laws like this intact will allow mothers who maybe don't have a typical situation or even a great situation have a little bit better of a situation.
Some of the listed accommodations include more time to use the bathroom and rest, flexible hours, and closer parking spots.
I get to park underneath with all the executives, and it's awesome because I just walk right into work instead of having to trek across campus to get to my office.
This map made by the Department of Labor shows how Utah already compares to other states. Utah is consistent with workplace protection when it comes to pregnancy discrimination, accommodation, and breastfeeding rights. This new act will not replace state or local laws that are more protective.
And in many ways, yes, this is moving forward, but I think there's a lot of ways that we can improve moving forward as well. I think there's a lot of room for growth.
Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And we want to hear from you. Do you think pregnant and postpartum working women have enough protections in the United States? To vote, scan that QR code on your screen. That will take you to fox13now.com/voice. Results are updated in real time. 67% of people who chimed in said, no, the United States right now is behind.
Well, it's a quiet evening out there, and our expectant meteorologist, Utah's Weather Authority, Allison Krogan, joins us now. It's so nice to have you with us.
Yes,
Allison.
I'm probably much more invested in that story than the average person, since I am also expecting right now here in Salt Lake City, as you said, a calm evening. We did have some thunderstorms that rolled through earlier this afternoon, but we're going to still see that isolated chance into tomorrow and also on Thursday. But it's comfortable right now. Beautiful night on the patio in the 70s. A little breezy here in Salt Lake, though, about 30 miles miles per hour, but it's not as gusty as it was earlier. And we're also going to see that wind picking up again tomorrow throughout the day. Satellite and radar here across northern Utah. Still a little bit of lightning in southwest Box Elder County, just north of Wendover. But we head into tonight mainly going to see partly to mostly cloudy conditions, and then again tomorrow, a lot of wind ramping up in southeastern Utah with more fire warnings in place throughout the afternoon. For Salt Lake, we're into the 60s overnight. A pretty comfortable start tomorrow morning, although it'll be quite cloudy. We'll still have that chance for some isolated storms tomorrow, and then the heat is on heading into the holiday weekend. More what to expect for 4th of July coming up.
After a long, wet winter, an Ogden nonprofit that serves at-risk kids needs help fixing their building. We'll tell you how you can help.
Plus, it was a special show in the skies this morning as both the Air Force and the Utah Air National Guard flew over the Beehive State. Why this flyover meant so much.
On the court, with stars like Laurie Markkinen, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, to play alongside those guys, I feel like we could be a really great team.
And he could be the Utah Jazz's next big star. Fox 13 sports reporter Andrea Urban sits down with Taylor Hendricks about what he hopes to do in the NBA and here in Utah.
Welcome back, everyone. After a long and wet winter wreaked havoc on their building, an Ogden nonprofit is struggling now to meet the needs of the more than 100 at-risk children it serves.
Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shows us why Youth Impact is asking the community to help continue being a safe place for everyone.
It's not fair for these kids to fall short of being given a chance to be successful or happy because our building's falling apart.
Youth Impact is a safe place for at-risk kids from more than 30 schools. Every day, program mentors give students a ride to the building on Grant Avenue, where they study and do activities ranging from arts and crafts to sports, dance, and gardening.
We work with YCC kids, a lot of the kids, single-parent households, poverty-ridden families, so kids that just don't have the opportunities that they would if they had a real family structure.
But this past winter was very difficult on the old building that was donated to the nonprofit about 25 years ago.
With all the snow and rain since January, we have a flat roof, so it was just perfect storm of collapse.
In January, Suzanne Miller says they had to shut down the arts and crafts area and study hall.
Because everything was just destroyed in the flood.
Computers, tables, floors, electricity, heating, and air conditioning. About $500,000 in damage.
We serve 150 kids who are at risk, and so our whole mission is a safe place to be a kid. And when you have buildings that aren't working to their fullest capacity, we can't utilize our space as well as we would like. They don't have the ability to live into their future, and that is our whole goal.
You might be someone that's giving this kid that chance.
Cameron Portillo hopes the community will help Youth Impact restore their building so these kids can have a space they can feel safe and comfortable in.
Some of these kids have it really, really bad, and knowing that you might be that one opportunity that you could change a kid's life means everything. This place has saved me just as much as it has some of these other kiddos.
Youth Impact is accepting donations on their Venmo. They're also accepting donations in person or over the phone. You can find more information on our website, fox13now.com. Reporting in Ogden, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The state veterinarian is asking Utahns who own horses to get them vaccinated against West Nile virus. Because of the wet weather, the Department of Agriculture and Food reports 5 times as many mosquitoes compared to a normal year. Up to a third of horses bitten by infected mosquitoes could die from West Nile virus.
The Provo Fire Department has launched a rather in-your-face PSA to warn about using fireworks before it's legal.
Take a look at this.
Hate to rain on your parade, bro.
There it is.
Looks like I will have to rain on your parade. Remember, fireworks season doesn't start till Sunday, July 2nd.
In your face. Provo is urging people to light fireworks in public parks for added safety because fire crews will be there.
That was great casting there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Good little PSA. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall has announced the city will put on a drone show instead of traditional fireworks for the Independence Day and Pioneer Day holidays. The move is in response to fire danger and air quality problems that come with fireworks. The drone shows will take place on July 1st at Jordan Park and on July 24th at Liberty Park starting at 10 p.m.
Drone show.
You went to one of those last year,
I
right?
thought it was going to be a drone show. It turned out to be a laser show instead.
Was it cool?
Yeah, it was cool enough.
Yeah.
They're getting more popular.
Yeah, they really are. I want to see the drones, though.
And they're not as scary for the dogs.
That's correct.
They're good for our air quality. I remember when I was driving by one of the 4th of July, I think it was at Sugar House Park several years ago, there was that brush fire on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, these drones aren't going to cause that problem. So there you go.
That's right.
As we look at our temperatures here across the state, things are really going to be heating up. So of course that it's going to be top of mind heading into the holiday weekend. Temperatures 74 in Salt Lake right now. Our wind is gusting 29 miles per hour. Air quality for Wednesday and Thursday, moderate. We're looking at more voluntary action just like today. UV index for tomorrow, also very high. So if you're one of my neighbors, I will see you out for a walk tomorrow morning early in the day. Get out before it heats up because temperatures tomorrow are again going to be into the 80s. And then we head into next week and we are closer to that century mark. So things are really going to start heating up, especially Sunday into the 4th of July. Temperatures right now, 62 for the Ogden Valley and Eden, 71 for Ogden, 71 for Farmington, 68 in Tooele. Temperatures for Provo, 75 right now, 68 for Vernal, 60 for Evanston and Logan. Same thing for Bryce Canyon, St. George, 88 degrees. Wasatch Front Drive tomorrow, 64. So keep that in mind. Early in the day tomorrow, things will be quite cloudy. Tomorrow, second half of the day, Evening Drive, 80 degrees, mostly cloudy. Still a few showers right now through Tooele and Box Elder counties. A little bit of lightning just west of Wendover, but we really have lost a lot of strength with these storms over the last 2 hours or so. We did see some wind gusts earlier today, about 50 to 60 miles per hour with our strongest storms, and we had one severe thunderstorm warning, and that was up towards Snowville right near the Idaho border about 5 o'clock today. Overall, temps tomorrow morning 50s and 60s here across the state. We will see chance for some isolated storms tomorrow, but it's mostly going to be a cloudy day. Temperatures into the 80s for the Wasatch Front. St. George, you're into the mid-90s tomorrow. So if you want to get outside early in the day, an 8 a.m. pickleball time sounds good. 68 degrees, 8 a.m. I know most of you will be working though. I'll be working tomorrow also, but hopefully I'll find some time to get outside early in the day before we heat up and we see that chance for some storms to develop. Hopefully you can do the same. It's also going to be really windy tomorrow into southeastern Utah, so we will continue with more fire concerns. Red flag warnings once again midday through tomorrow evening. St. George 96 through Thursday, and then 100 to 105 through the 4th of July. And for the Wasatch Front, 80s through Friday, 90s this weekend, close to 95 to 100 degrees heading into the 4th of July. We'll take a look at your 2-week temperature outlook coming up in just a bit. We'll be right back.
Today is National HIV Testing Day to encourage people to get tested for HIV, to know their status and get linked to care and treatment. Human immunodeficiency virus is an infection that attacks the immune system, making it more difficult for the body to fight off disease. If left untreated, it can progress to acquired immunodeficiency syndrome or AIDS. Modern treatment methods have enabled people with HIV to live healthy, fulfilling lives.
And it's important for people to know that. And I think it's also important for people to know that receiving an HIV diagnosis is not a death sentence. So people who live with HIV today, they can have just as long of a life and a healthy as a life as someone who's not living with HIV.
Now, depending on background and testing history, high-risk Utah residents may qualify for free tests that will be mailed straight to their homes.
West Valley City Police are hosting a series of Cops and Cleats one-day athletic camps for children this summer. Members of the Community-Oriented Policing Unit, along with trainers from Athletic Republic, will provide athletic training for youth ages 5 to 18. Lieutenant Levi Lloyd wanted to create a way for officers to interact with youth in a positive way.
We invite all youth community members to come on out and join us. It allows them to have a positive interaction with the officers, play a little soccer, learn some skills from some professionals.
My mom cheered me up. My uncle was cheering me up too. I had the most fun I ever had.
The camp, as well as lunch for the participants, is provided free thanks to the help of generous sponsors.
A new report slams the state for its lack of oversight for long-term care facilities in Utah.
Why he get through the door during the night?
One man details the death of his brother while in the state's care, why he says it was completely preventable.
100 years of air refueling celebrated across the United States earlier today, how Utah took part in the special anniversary.
This is one of the best popsicles I've ever had. Meet the 13-year-old behind this thriving local business.
A lawsuit involving the Utah Jazz, an NBA star, and a fan goes before the Utah Court of Appeals. I'll take you inside the courtroom.
You know, the conversation that they were having with me, it made me feel very comfortable.
A one-on-one interview with the 6'9" freshman from UCF, Taylor Hendricks, on what he can add to the Utah Jazz.
Today, a scathing report from the Disability Law Center says more oversight of long-term care facilities in Utah is needed.
The report focuses on this man, Chien Nguyen, a resident of Evergreen Place, who died by suicide last year after being transferred to another facility.
Fox 13 News reporter Lucy Nelson spoke with his brother and explains what the report says could prevent tragedies like this.
Were you close?
Very close.
Nick Nguyen watched over his brother Chien for 15 years. He says his brother struggled with schizophrenia and suicidal ideations.
My brother, he lived with me. They happened many times about he worried something, he depressed, and I just let him take the mat, and then he's okay. I talk softly to him.
Eventually, Chien moved to Evergreen Place, a group home for men in Midvale, which was shut down in January of 2022 for horrific conditions, including raw sewage and bed bugs.
The challenge there was when it finally got shut down, because the county health department saw these issues, not the state. The county health department had to go in and say, this is just not a safe place for people to live.
The Disability Law Center's spokesman, Nate Krippis, says there was nowhere for the residents to go.
I think what we saw then was one of the challenges on our system is when we closed that down, there just weren't good options for people with serious and persistent mental illness.
Chien was transferred to Hidden Hollow Care Center in Orem. Strange, Krippis says, since it's a facility for people with intellectual disabilities.
My understanding is he, at some point in that process, they found that he had an intellectual disability, though he had gone through high school and nobody had ever diagnosed this before. So how he ended up there is kind of curious.
He says Chien's medication also wasn't transferred since it was in a different county. Chien attempted suicide by running out in front of a staff vehicle on April 10th, which Nick says no one told him about, even when he visited his brother later that afternoon.
He looks so depressed, tired, and he just lied down in inside my car, in the back of the car.
The next morning, Chien ran in front of a car again and died that same day. Still painful for Nick to think about what could have been done differently that possibly could have saved his brother's life.
I'm wondering if the staff or they know he want to suicide already. How come don't let him take the med, keep him calm down, make sure he sleep well, Why he get through the door during the night.
In Salt Lake City, Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Utah Attorney General's office has charged 2 women in connection with the death of a patient at the Hidden Hollow Care Center in Orem.
That is the same facility where Nguyen took his life. Amy Luritzen and Letitia Odunze each face felony abuse charges after a patient diagnosed with schizophrenia ran out of medication and began attempting suicide, ultimately dying last April. Charging documents state, despite being aware he was out of medication, the 2 took no measures to prevent the patient's death. State Senator Mike McKell has worked to track and stop abuse in youth facilities, but says it's time to expand to adult care facilities.
I guess my concern today, looking at this issue, is how many more facilities are out there that are operating this way, that are not licensed, that are treating vulnerable adults. And I think it's something the legislature absolutely needs to take a look at.
The Department of Health and Human Services released a statement that says the Utah Department of Health and Human Services is still in the process of reviewing the report released by the Disability Law Center. Our hearts go out to those mentioned in the report who lost a loved one in one of Utah's long-term care facilities.
The Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office will not pursue criminal charges against the Saratoga Springs police officer involved in last December's deadly shooting in Bluffdale. Officers were called after a 17-year-old reported another resident of his apartment building assaulted him. Take a look.
So come over here real quick. You're under arrest right now. Hey, what the? What? Hey, whoa. For what? For what? We'll tell.
A chase then followed, during which one officer dropped his taser, and Daniel Villatoro picked it up and then charged at the officers. District Attorney Sim Gill says the decision came down to whether the officer reasonably believed he and the other officers at the scene were in danger at the time he fired at the suspect.
In order to criminally prosecute him, we would have to demonstrate that that belief was, one, unreasonable, and two, it was unreasonable beyond a reasonable, beyond reasonable doubt.
Gill concluded that if a jury were presented with the body camera video and witness statements, they would likely find the use of force justified.
A water main break in West Jordan has shut down a section of road for several days. You can see the hole in the collapsed road, well, just there in the distance. This is at 90th South, 4800 West. The city says water has been restored to the 6 homes affected, but road work will continue for at least a few more days.
Coming up, a lawsuit involving the Utah Jazz, an NBA star, and a fan goes before the Utah Court of Appeals. We'll take you inside the courtroom.
And it was a sight to behold this morning. Did you see it in the air over the Wasatch Front? What this military flyover was celebrating.
If opinions differ about whether it's racial, doesn't that qualify it as opinion?
A lawsuit involving NBA star Russell Westbrook, the Utah Jazz, and a fan banned for life went to court today.
That fan claims his life was upended by the encounter, and he wants his lawsuit reinstated.
Fox 13 News reporter Ben Winslow has more.
The lawsuit centers around a 2019 confrontation between a Utah Jazz fan, his girlfriend, and then Oklahoma City Thunder player Russell Westbrook.
Mr. Kiesel said to sit down and ice his knees. And the discourse escalated when Mr. Westbrook responded angrily that it was heat, not ice wrapped to his knees. At that point, Mr. Kiesel made the comment about Mr. Westbrook's knees that was referenced as racial in the press conference, and Mr. Westbrook lashed out with threats in response. But race was not a factor in these comments.
The fan, Shane Kiesel, and his girlfriend sued Westbrook and the Utah Jazz for defamation over reaction to the comments that got Kiesel a lifetime ban, as well as then team owner Gail Miller's public statement to Jazz fans at a later game.
We are not a racist community.
A lower court judge threw out their lawsuit. It's now before the Utah Court of Appeals.
How do we know that Mr. Westbrook mischaracterized or didn't just hear something different than the rest of the witnesses did?
I think that's an excellent question, and that's yet another reason that this case should go to trial.
The judges quizzed lawyers over whether Westbrook and Miller's comments are classic opinion, which can be protected speech.
Doesn't Mr. Westbrook have the right under the First Amendment to have an opinion about what the meaning of Mr. Kiesel's statement was?
Certainly he can have an opinion, and he can express opinions.
So,
However,
once he has the First Amendment right to have the opinion, then how can it be a defamation claim?
The same way that any other defamation through an opinion that implies facts is a defamation claim.
Their claim is that the Jazz labeled it or characterized it, mischaracterized it allegedly as racist, and that is the heart of their defamation claim against the Jazz, and that's simply non-actionable opinion.
Westbrook's lawyer says it's Kiesel that put it all out there, noting another fan was banned from making comments construed as racist at a different game.
And nobody knows his name. Why is that? There's only one logical conclusion to that, is because he didn't go on TV. He didn't send his video out to the world so that there were 15,000 hits before the game was over. Kiesel wanted the spotlight, and that's what he got.
The Court of Appeals took the case under advisement with no timeline for a ruling. At the Matheson Courthouse, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, coming up, we are going to introduce you to a 13-year-old behind Kai Pops. He's pretty cool. How the popsicle business has grown over the past 4 years.
The Air Force and Utah Air National Guard performed flyovers around the Beehive State today.
It was really cool to see. This was all part of a celebration across the country of 100 years of aerial refueling. Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold shows us what it was like.
It was at the Utah State Capitol Tuesday morning.
Awesome performance.
That people got to witness this. As a KC-135 with two F-35s by its side flew overhead.
The power, you got those four big, well, you got the two engines on the jets, and then you got that big tanker going there. Just so they, looks like they could go in so slow when they're down low.
It was all a part of a celebration.
This is the 100-year anniversary of air refueling.
It was on this day, June 27th, back in 1923, as a DH-4B passed gasoline through a hose to an identical aircraft.
Imagine what the Wright brothers are thinking right now, right? From flying on the coast, now seeing these big aircraft and also doing refueling missions right now. So they got to have a big smile on their face.
Ever since, this maneuver has been an essential part of vital missions across the world.
Ace Marine 35 obviously carries a lot of fuel, and without those aircraft, nothing flies. So that they have a very specific mission to get those aircraft to where they need to be.
The flyovers were performed by the 151st Air Refueling Wing, stationed at Roland R. Wright Air National Guard Base here in Salt Lake. They got going around 9:30 this morning above Utah State University in Logan, heading south over the Capitol and all the way down to Utah Tech in St. George, before finishing up over Park City. For those who snapped a picture of the aircraft as it was going by or witnessed it in person, they say it was worth taking part in the celebration.
When events happen, you got to get out and see them.
A commander with the Air Mobility Command said in a statement earlier today that air refueling connects our strategic vision with our operational reality, ensuring we can reach any corner of the globe with unwavering speed and precision. On the Hill, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
As the pandemic continues to test the limits of our healthcare system, there are those who selflessly rise above the challenges to care for the sickest patients.
The Fox 13 Dream Team was proud to honor Terry Back, a nurse at Intermountain Medical Center in Murray, and presented her with a well-deserved getaway. She received a weekend stay in a king suite at Red Cliffs Lodge in Moab, along with $600 in gift cards for dinner, massages, horseback riding, and more.
And we hope you'll relax and know how much we value what you do every single day and what everybody here does every day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So well deserved.
Oh, yeah.
Terry's friends and co-workers say that she has shown unwavering dedication and courage throughout the pandemic, caring for the sickest patients on the COVID floor, despite contracting the virus multiple times herself.
If you know someone who deserves an uplifting surprise from the Fox 13 Dream Team, go to fox13now.com/contests to nominate them. Well, everybody knows that popsicles are the big treat of the summer.
So cool and refreshing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Get this, such a great story. And a budding story, too, I think. Big future here. A 13-year-old boy is making sure everyone in Utah has a chance to get the taste of his special version that provides a Hawaiian twist on a summertime classic. Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule has his awesome story.
It's
it's not just any popsicle.
I don't really like Otter Pops because they're super frozen, so I thought it'd be like such a good idea to make like a creamy Otter Pop.
It's a Kai Pop, an island-style popsicle created by 13-year-old Kakai Keala when he was just 9 years old.
When I was 9 in Hawaii with my grandma, and we made these ice cups, which is just like a little popsicle in a cup. And I thought it'd be fun to put them in a little baggie and then start selling them at like sports events.
And that's exactly what Kakai did. Now, 4 years later, his business has grown so big, he and his family make over 1,000 Kai Pops a week.
We mix them into like our little batches, and then we pour them into a machine, and with this machine, like we just pump it, and it gives us like the perfect amount. And then it's like already sealed and everything. And then we have to lay it on a tray and freeze it, and that can take a long time.
I'm surprised that it's gone this far, but you know, his commitment to it has been, I think, the thing that I'm most proud about.
This very truck travels around Utah bringing sweet, icy treats to local neighborhoods. But Kakai says it's not just about the popsicles, it's also about him and his family sharing the aloha.
When I say share the aloha, I mean like share like kindness and share the Kai Pops too.
It means love. And it's just sharing a bit of our culture. I'm not Hawaiian, but it means a lot to our family. The culture is important. It's important that they carry on their traditions.
Even after collaborating with Utah's soda wonder Swig and some of Utah's favorite influencers, Kakai is still thinking big.
By the end of the year, I would love to have a large-scale manufacturer.
And he wants other young entrepreneurs to do the same.
I feel like a lot of kids, like they have this dream, and I feel like they can't accomplish it if they try.
In Spanish Fork, Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, temperatures today heating up in Salt Lake, 85 degrees. 89 is a normal high this time of year, so today we're just a tiny bit below average. A record for today would have been 102, so we are not into triple digits yet. We've actually only made it into the 90s 4 times this year, and we'll have more of those 90-degree days on the way throughout the 7-day forecast. Still seeing a little bit of thunderstorm activity along I-80 just west of West Wendover and then across the entire state. Less wind has really started to calm down into southeastern Utah, but it's going to be another windy day tomorrow. So we'll continue again with red flag warnings, fire weather warnings midday tomorrow through 8 p.m. And then we'll have a fire weather watch on Thursday for southeastern Utah. Hour by hour forecast, temperatures into the tomorrow morning time frame, 50s and 60s here across the state. Might be able to see a few showers early in the day, but cloudy sky, and then a better chance for some isolated storms to develop during the second half of the day tomorrow. So midday through dinner time. And then we head throughout our 7-day forecast. Temperatures are really going to be heating up this weekend, but isolated storm chances for Wednesday night, Thursday for the Ogden area. Provo, your chance of precipitation for tomorrow. Isolated Wednesday night. By Thursday, some widely scattered storms. And for St. George, the 7-day forecast is going to be dry. So as we look at the temperatures over the next couple of days, about 95 for St. George Wednesday, Thursday, and then triple digits around 105 actually starting on Saturday. And we're going to keep it close to 105 through the 4th of July next Tuesday. For the Wasatch Front, isolated storms Wednesday and Thursday. Tomorrow we have more clouds. Temperatures in the mid-80s still on Friday, 90s this weekend. And then we get into our extended forecast, our 2-week temperature outlook for days 8 to 14, the 5th of July through the 11th. Normal temperatures returning for us here in Utah, and that is close to 90 degrees. A little bit cooler off to our northeast in that time frame, and a little bit hotter than normal for southeastern Utah. By 4th of July, we're looking at 95 in Salt Lake, and then our temperature trend is going to be normal, but we're going to see above average precipitation for the northern part of the state and drier than usual conditions for southwest Utah.
This time last week, Taylor Hendricks was a hopeful prospect with a dream to play in the NBA. And today, he is the newest addition to the Utah Jazz roster with a lifelong dream that came true. The Utah Jazz selected Hendricks the 9th overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. His life has quickly changed, and I had the opportunity to sit down with the athletic 19-year-old from UCF, and he's everything that is a Jazzman.
With the 9th pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Taylor Hendricks.
It's kind of cool, similar to UCF, where you might get a chance to just really shine. What do you like about this Utah Jazz team?
Off the court, like the coaching staff and the owner, like when I came in for my workout, they made me feel like I was at home, and you know, the conversation that they were having with me, it made me feel very comfortable. And then on the court, you know, with stars like Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, you know, to play alongside those guys, I feel like we could be a really great team.
How do you think that you're going to fit in with Lauri and Walker? Because what I've seen is that you're this interchangeable guy, which is kind of a superpower.
Williams finds the open man, block for the rebound, and a nice find, Pierre!
How do you think you're going to do with that?
I feel like I'm going to fit in like a glove. You know, Walker Kessler is his ability to block shots, and then him and Lauri, what they were able to do this season, like defending the rim. And then adding me too would be like, you know, another, like a cherry on top, just because of my ability to block shots and my defensive versatility.
What is your why for why you do this?
I would say mainly it's my family, just wanting to support them, and then just to trust in God. I mean, you know, in the beginning I'm looking at like all the players that came from UCF to go to the NBA, and it wasn't many, so, you know, just me putting my faith in God and having him order my steps and, you know, just going along with that and not really stressing about anything and focusing on the college season was really what helped me.
What do you like about what Will Hardy and his coaching staff are doing here at the Utah Jazz?
I would say first off, like when I came for my workout, I would just see him how like involved he was with the team. You know, just seeing that made me feel even more comfortable.
Get after him. Let's go.
Do you like involved? Does that make you feel like you could almost like go one-on-one with your head coach?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it does make you feel a lot more comfortable to, you know, come to your coach to even talk about anything, and you know, just seeing that it's heartwarming.
I know you mentioned that you wanted to get yourself a Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Have you made any leeway on getting yourself a dog, and why that dog?
I mean, I love small dogs, so, and I feel like it's just easier to take care of, and it's like they're just so cute. So, you know, I'm gonna probably get it like after summer league when I'm like all settled. So.
And how tall are you?
6'9".
So you're 6'9" with a Chihuahua.
Yes.
Well, welcome to Utah, Taylor Hendricks. And then just in a little over an hour ago, Utah's Talen Horton-Tucker has decided to opt in and remain with the Utah Jazz. Horton-Tucker is opting into an $11 million deal. He averaged 11 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and in 65 appearances last season for the Jazz. That'll do it for sports. We'll be right back.
That's gonna about do it. That's it.
The cast is up next.
Stick around.